The Chicago Bears go on the road to face their NFC North Division rival Detroit Lions on Sunday. BETDAQ currently has Chicago installed as a 3-point favorite in this game, 44.5 the total. Quite frankly, I was surprised to see the Bears were only favored by 3 here. I thought this line was going to be closer to Chicago -4, Chicago -4.5. After all, the Bears, not only are they a much better team than Detroit, 9-6 compared to 4-11, they desperately need this game. For Chicago to make the playoffs, they must beat Detroit on Sunday, and they need the Green Bay Packers to beat the Minnesota Vikings. Now, Green Bay's a favorite in that game, and the Packers need that game to secure a first-round bye in the playoffs. So you could say the Packers will probably win that game. Now, I have my doubts. I think the Vikings might upset them, but certainly, if Chicago beats Detroit, they have an excellent chance to make the playoffs. So they're desperate for the win. Detroit has lost 7 games in a row. They're 1-6 against the spread in those 7 games. Why then is Chicago only a 3-point favorite here? Well, I think it has to do with a couple of things. Number one, the Chicago Bears have been really bad themselves recently. I mean, they have been collapsing. They've lost 5 out of the last 7 games. It might have been 6 out of the last 7 if they'd have been playing anybody but the Arizona Cardinals last week. Arizona playing as bad as any team in the league, even though 2 weeks ago, Arizona's only win in their last 11 games, they beat these very same Detroit Lions 38-10. So you could come back and say, well, why again is Chicago only a 3-point favorite here? Well, you look a little closer, and really, the Chicago Bears this season, they have been a run-first football team. A lot of the publicity has surrounded the acquisition of Brandon Marshall. They acquired Marshall in the offseason from Miami to give them their first true number 1 receiver in several years. And Marshall's made a big difference, no doubt about it. Jay Cutler clearly feels much more comfortable throwing the ball to him than any other member of the Chicago Bears. But it hasn't really helped the Bears' passing offense that much, at least statistically. The Bears are 29th in the NFL in pass offense, and they've been around the bottom of the league all year in terms of pass yards per game. They're a run-first team. They've been a top 10 rushing offense all year. They've really leaned on that tandem of Matt Forte and Michael Bush all season. Now, Bush has been injured, and he'll miss the rest of the year. He's on IR with a rib injury. And Forte has been dinged up lately. I mean, he's questionable for this game on Sunday. He's got a gimpy ankle. Even if he plays, he won't be 100%. So the Chicago Bears here on the road in a must-win game might have to rely on Jay Cutler more than is healthy. I mean, remember, Cutler, even though he's a guy with a big arm who can make every throw and has been impressive at times, he's as unreliable as they come in the NFL. This guy is a walking turnover/disaster. He takes sacks, throws untimely interceptions, head-scratching plays, doesn't seem to care about them much himself. You know, he's known for sort of ho-hum attitude and questionable competitiveness. He asked out of a game 3 weeks ago with the Minnesota Vikings, or asked out. He didn't come back in a game against the Minnesota Vikings with 3.5 minutes left in a game the Bears had to win. He's done things like that throughout his career, set out of a playoff game a couple of years ago with an injury that some people deemed questionable. So you don't want to rely on Jay Cutler, and a lot of Chicago's early success, 7 out of the first 8 games they won, remember, was because they did not rely on Jay Cutler. But due to the injuries at running back position on Sunday, they may be forced to rely on Jay Cutler, and that could be a bad thing for the Chicago Bears. Detroit, for all their faults, and there are many, obviously they're 4-11, they're the number 1 passing offense in the NFL. They average 311 pass yards per game. Calvin Johnson last week broke Jerry Rice's single-season receiving yards record. So the Matt Stafford to Calvin Johnson combination, as potent of a downfield combination there is in the NFL today. Chicago, even though they have a good defense, second in the NFL in points allowed, their defense has slipped, particularly against the run, since Brian Urlacher went down with a hamstring injury a couple of weeks ago. We're not sure yet if Urlacher is going to play this Sunday. We're hearing he's doubtful. He's officially listed as questionable right now, but reports out of Chicago, they seem to favor him not playing. So there's a few things working in Detroit's favor here. Now, in the end, are you going to trust a team that has lost 7 straight games and is 1-6 against the spread in those games, playing a team that absolutely must have the game? I mean, are you going to take that leap of faith? For me, I'm not sure if I'm actually going to do it, but I lean towards yes. Yes, I think that leap of faith is the best thing to do on Sunday. I expect the 4-11 Detroit Lions, losers of their last 7 games, to beat the Chicago Bears, and I think Lovie Smith will be fired shortly after the season. You know, I think Lovie Smith is a good football coach, and tell you the truth, I think more talk should be about Jim Schwartz and what a bad job he's done coaching the Detroit Lions this year, taking a 10-6 team, turning them into 4-11, even though they have the same nucleus, most of the same players, and they haven't had big injury issues in Detroit, at least not compared to some of the other teams in the league. So To me, Jim Schwartz should be the guy who's on the hot seat, but I think he'll get another year in Detroit. But I expect Lovie Smith to get fired after losing in Detroit this Sunday.